Have you ever wondered if one of the most celebrated superfoods in your kitchen might actually be working against your health after 60? I know it sounds shocking, and honestly, I didn't want to believe it myself when I first heard this from my doctor. For years, we've been told that green vegetables are the ultimate health heroes. And don't get me wrong, they absolutely can be. But here's what no one talks about. Our bodies change dramatically as we age, and what nourished us beautifully in our 40s and 50s might not be serving us the same way in our 60s and beyond. I'm talking about a vegetable that's probably sitting in your refrigerator right now, one that you've been proudly adding to your meals, thinking you're doing everything right for your health. A vegetable that's been called a nutritional powerhouse, a cancer fighter, a heart-healthy champion. But here's the thing that caught me completely off guard, and why I had to make a difficult decision about my own diet. After turning 60, I started experiencing some puzzling health issues. Joint stiffness that seemed to come out of nowhere, an unusual fatigue that my morning coffee couldn't quite shake, and most concerning of all, my blood work started showing some numbers that had my doctor raising her eyebrows. The culprit? It wasn't my age alone, though that played a part. It wasn't my activity level. I was still walking every morning and tending to my garden. It was something I was eating nearly every day, something I thought was keeping me healthy. Our digestive systems, our metabolism, even the way our bodies process certain nutrients, everything shifts as we enter our senior years. What once gave us energy might now leave us feeling sluggish. What once supported our health might now be creating unexpected challenges. Today, I want to share this journey with you because I believe knowledge is power, especially when it comes to our health. By the end of our time together, you'll understand exactly why I had to step back from this particular food. And more importantly, you'll have the tools to listen to your own body and make the best choices for your unique situation. Because here's what I've learned. Taking care of ourselves after 60 isn't about following the same rules we followed at 40. It's about understanding our changing bodies and adapting with wisdom and care. Part 2. Understanding our changing bodies. Let me paint you a picture of what's happening inside our bodies as we gracefully age. Think of your digestive system as a well-loved kitchen that served your family for decades. It still works beautifully, but it operates a little differently now than it did when it was brand new. Our stomachs produce less acid than they used to, which means breaking down certain foods takes more effort. Our liver, that incredible detox center, processes things more slowly and carefully. Even our intestines have become more selective about what they easily absorb and what they struggle with. These aren't flaws. They're natural adaptations. But they do mean that some foods we once handled with ease might now cause discomfort, fatigue, or even interfere with medications we're taking. Here's where it gets particularly interesting with certain green vegetables. Many of these nutritional powerhouses contain compounds called Goitrogens. Now, that's a fancy word, but think of Goitrogens as little messengers that can sometimes confuse your thyroid gland. For younger people with robust thyroid function, this usually isn't an issue. But for those of us over 60, especially if we're already dealing with thyroid concerns, these compounds can sometimes tip the balance. Then there's vitamin K, wonderful for bone health, but it can interact with blood-thinning medications that many of us take for heart health. What was once a simple choice to add more greens to our plate suddenly becomes a delicate balancing act. And let's talk about fiber. We all know fiber is important, But some vegetables are so high in certain types of fiber that our more sensitive digestive systems can struggle. The result: bloating, gas, and that uncomfortable feeling that can last for hours. None of this means these vegetables are bad. It simply means we need to be more thoughtful about how our individual bodies respond to them. We need to become detectives of our own health, paying attention to the subtle signals our bodies send us after meals. The key is learning to distinguish between foods that energize us and foods that, despite their healthy reputation, might be creating subtle stress in our systems. Part 3. Margaret's Wake-Up Call. Let me tell you about my dear friend Margaret, a vibrant, 68-year-old retired teacher from Portland, Oregon. Margaret had always been what you'd call a health-conscious person. She grew her own vegetables, took daily walks along the Columbia River, and prided herself on eating what she called her daily dose of green goodness. Every morning, Margaret would start her day with a smoothie packed with what she believed was nature's most perfect vegetable, fresh broccoli. She'd add it to her lunch salads, steam it for dinner, and even sneak it into her weekend omelets. "If a little is good, more must be better," she used to say with that warm smile of hers. But something started changing when Margaret turned 65. At first, it was subtle. She'd wake up feeling stiff, as if her joints had forgotten how to move smoothly overnight. Her energy, once steady throughout the day, began dipping dramatically around mid-afternoon. Most puzzling of all, the blood thinner her cardiologist had prescribed after her mild heart episode seemed to be working less effectively, despite her taking it religiously. Margaret's daughter, a nurse, finally convinced her to see Dr. Patricia Chen, a geriatric nutritionist at OHSU. I'll never forget Margaret calling me after that appointment, her voice a mixture of surprise and relief. "You won't believe what Dr. Chen told me," Margaret said. "She asked me to keep a detailed food diary for 2 weeks. Not just what I ate, but how I felt afterward. When I brought it back, she looked at it for about 5 minutes, and then asked me the strangest question. 'Margaret, how much broccoli are you eating?'" Dr. Chen explained something that had never occurred to Margaret. The compounds in broccoli that make it such a nutritional superstar, the same ones that help fight cancer and support detoxification, can sometimes interfere with thyroid function, especially in older adults. Margaret's daily broccoli habit might have been contributing to her sluggish metabolism and morning stiffness. Even more concerning, the high vitamin K content in her beloved vegetable was potentially interfering with her blood thinner medication. "I was essentially fighting against my own medicine," Margaret told me, shaking her head in amazement. Dr. Chen didn't ask Margaret to give up vegetables. Quite the opposite. Instead, she helped Margaret understand that variety was key. "Think of it like a garden," Dr. Chen had said. "You wouldn't plant only one type of flower, would you? Your plate needs the same kind of diversity." The transition wasn't immediate. Margaret admits she felt a bit lost at first, like she was giving up an old friend. But Dr. Chen guided her toward other nutrient-dense options. Butternut squash for beta-carotene, spinach for iron and folate, carrots for their gentle fiber, and sweet potatoes for sustained energy. Within 6 weeks, Margaret noticed a remarkable difference. Her joints felt more flexible in the mornings. Her energy remained steady throughout the day. Most importantly, her blood work showed that her medication was working exactly as it should. "I didn't realize how tired I had become until I wasn't tired anymore," Margaret told me recently. "It's like I had been wearing heavy boots without realizing it, and suddenly, I was walking on air again." Margaret's story isn't unique. It's happening to more seniors than we realize. People who are doing everything right according to traditional nutritional advice, but whose bodies are asking for something different. The lesson isn't that broccoli is bad. The lesson is that our bodies are constantly changing, and our nutrition needs to change with them. Part 4. The science behind the change. Now let's dive a little deeper into the fascinating science of why our nutritional needs shift as we age. Understanding the why helps us make informed decisions rather than feeling like we're navigating in the dark. First, let's talk about those Goitrogens I mentioned earlier. These are naturally occurring compounds found in cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, and cabbage. The name comes from goiter, because in large amounts, these compounds can interfere with iodine uptake by the thyroid gland. For most of our lives, our thyroid is robust enough to handle these compounds without issue. But after 60, our thyroid function naturally begins to slow down. It's like having a car engine that's been running perfectly for decades. It still works, but it needs a little more care and attention. When we consistently consume large amounts of goitrogens, we might be asking our already working harder thyroid to work even harder. This can manifest as unexplained fatigue, feeling cold when others are comfortable, difficulty concentrating, or that frustrating brain fog that seems to roll in like morning mist. Many people attribute these symptoms to just getting older, when they might actually be related to what's on their dinner plate. Then there's the vitamin K factor. Vitamin K is essential for bone health and blood clotting, both crucial for seniors. However, vitamin K can significantly impact the effectiveness of warfarin and other blood-thinning medications. Broccoli is incredibly high in vitamin K. Just 1 cup contains more than 100% of the daily recommended amount. For someone taking blood thinners, eating large amounts of vitamin K-rich foods can be like stepping on the gas and brake at the same time. Your medication is trying to thin your blood while the vitamin K is promoting clotting. This doesn't mean you can't eat these foods, but it does mean you need consistency and awareness. Our digestive systems also become more sensitive with age. The same stomach that once handled anything you threw at it might now struggle with certain high-fiber vegetables. Broccoli contains both soluble and insoluble fiber, plus compounds called raffinose sugars that can be difficult to digest, leading to gas, bloating, and discomfort. Additionally, as we age, our production of digestive enzymes decreases. We make less pepsin for protein digestion, less lipase for fat breakdown, and less amylase for carbohydrates. This means foods that were once easily processed might now sit heavily in our stomachs or cause digestive upset. The beautiful thing about understanding these changes is that knowledge gives us power. We're not victims of our aging bodies. We're informed partners in our health journey. By recognizing how our bodies are changing, we can make choices that support our energy, comfort, and overall well-being. Part 5. Your Path Forward. Practical Wisdom for Thriving. So, what does this mean for your daily life? How do you navigate this new understanding while still nourishing your body beautifully? Let me share some gentle, practical wisdom that has helped both Margaret and me, along with many other friends in our community. First, embrace the concept of rotation rather than elimination. Instead of eating the same vegetables every day, think of your weekly meal plan as a colorful rotation. Monday might feature roasted butternut squash with its gentle sweetness and easy digestibility. Tuesday could bring sautéed spinach, which is lower in goitrogens than broccoli, but still packed with iron and folate. Sweet potatoes have become one of my favorite discoveries. They're incredibly gentle on the digestive system, provide sustained energy without the afternoon crash, and their natural sweetness satisfies in a way that leaves you feeling nourished rather than stuffed. Carrots, often overlooked as basic, are actually perfectly designed for senior nutrition. They're easy to digest, gentle on sensitive stomachs, and provide beta-carotene in a form our bodies can easily use. I love them roasted with a touch of olive oil and herbs, or grated fresh into salads for a sweet crunch. Here's a practical approach I call the body check-in method. After each meal, take a moment to notice how you feel. Not immediately, but about 2 to 3 hours later. Are you energized or sluggish? Comfortable or bloated? Alert or struggling with brain fog? Your body is constantly giving you feedback. We just need to slow down enough to listen. Keep a simple food and feeling journal for 2 weeks. Nothing complicated. Just jot down what you ate and how you felt afterward. You might be surprised by the patterns that emerge. Foods you thought were serving you well might be creating subtle challenges, while others you barely noticed might be your secret energy boosters. Most importantly, please consult with your healthcare provider, especially if you're taking any medications. They can help you understand specific interactions and ensure that your dietary changes support rather than interfere with your treatment plan. Remember, this isn't about restriction or deprivation. It's about fine-tuning your nutrition to match your body's current needs. You're not broken because your dietary needs have changed. You're evolving, and your food choices can evolve with you. The goal isn't perfection. It's awareness, kindness to yourself, and the joy of feeling truly nourished at every stage of life. Part 6. Moving forward with confidence. As we wrap up our time together today, I want you to remember this. Changing what's on your plate after 60 isn't about admitting defeat. It's about embracing wisdom. You're not giving up foods you love. You're choosing foods that love you back. The most beautiful part of this journey is that it's uniquely yours. What works for Margaret might be different from what works for you, and that's perfectly okay. Your body has been your faithful companion for 6 decades or more. It deserves your attention, your respect, and your willingness to listen to its changing needs. If this conversation has resonated with you, I encourage you to share it with friends and family members who might benefit from this perspective. Sometimes the most powerful health changes happen when we support each other through the journey. Your health is your most precious asset, more valuable than any possession, more important than any achievement. By approaching it with curiosity rather than fear, knowledge rather than assumption, you're giving yourself the gift of vitality for years to come. Take care of yourself with the same gentleness you'd show a dear friend. After all, that's exactly what you deserve.